This week, we broke the story of a police officer in the state of Georgia who is currently indicted for felony murder, burglary, aggravated assault, and violation of oath of office by providing false statements to the authorities. That cop was still active. That cop was still training other law enforcement officers on SWAT. Nonetheless, I broke that story this week on Indisputable. We have a major update to that story. Let me remind you of the original reporting. Here it is. This is an Indisputable exclusive. No other media outlet has this story. Right now, a cop who has been indicted for murder of a 26-year-old African-American male Tuskegee University student is already back working on the force and working as a trainer with SWAT, nonetheless. Here was my direct proclamation to the Board of Commissioners for Clayton County, Georgia, where this police officer was working. Here it is. And what was the response from the police? Well, the police decided to just give him another role. A role where he is literally, the police officer Hutchens is literally in charge of training cops how to shoot while under felony indictment for murder. I'm pissed, I'm upset. Put up the picture of this police chief again. He's black. The whole damn county commission, African American. Now you all better get this right. When I tell you there has to be a report at some point today that says that officer has no affiliation anymore around weapons or anything else, we're gonna have a problem. Well, it looks like we're not going to have a problem because within 24 hours, the county commission, along with the chief of police, decided to sideline that police officer. He is no more around training, guns, or anything else. I'm now going to give you the background to how this happened after our reporting. Put up the picture of the officer. His name is Hutchens. He is currently under felony murder indictment for killing a 26-year-old African-American male named Jamarion Robinson. He was indicted along with other officers by a Fulton County grand jury in the state of Georgia. Clayton County is located right next door to Fulton County. After his indictment, he was allowed to remain with the police department in a training capacity, and he was training members of SWAT. Literally a man who was indicted for murder, shooting a 26-year-old over 50 times, was still training members of SWAT. Not anymore. The Clayton County Police Chief Kevin Roberts removed Sergeant Kristopher Hutchens from his role in assisting with the department's firearm training. This was right after our reporting. The move comes after pushback from county leaders challenging if Sergeant Hutchens' role was appropriate while he awaits the start of a murder trial. Let me give you more background. In October, a Fulton County grand jury charged Sergeant Hutchens and Eric Hines with the US Marshal Southeast Regional Fugitive Task Force with felony murder, aggravated assault, and other charges in the killing of 26-year-old Jamarion Robinson. I'm going to now read a direct quote from the chief of police after our reporting. He says, and I quote, "Recent concerns presented to the Clayton County Board of Commissioners about the administrative assignment of Sergeant K. Hutchens to the in-service training unit have impacted the board and Clayton County Police Department. Chief Kevin Roberts has reconsidered the sergeant's assignment and moved him to a non-training duty, effective immediately." A police department said in an email, the police department said in an email to CBS News Atlanta. Now I'm going to show you the county commissioner who saw our story and decided to push the agenda and ask the right questions. Put a picture up. This is Commissioner Felicia Franklin, a real public servant. Commissioner Franklin represents the 3rd District of Clayton County in the state of Georgia. I got access to the emails, the email flurry that took place after the reporting. That commissioner said, and I quote in an email to the chief, "Chief Roberts, is this true question mark, highlighting the fact that the commission was unaware of this murdering indicted cop being on the payroll and active. Chief Roberts, is this true? If so, I am requesting a detailed response for the board via this email by close of business today as to why. Once again, put up the picture of this people's champ, Commissioner Franklin, who decided to ask the right question. Now I'm going to take you to the partial response of the chief of police, because initially Chief Roberts decided to defend his actions and stand with the cop under felony murder indictment. Here's what Chief Roberts said. On December 7th, 2021, the department received a copy of the Fulton County warrant for Sergeant Hutchens that was dated October 28th, 2021. On December 8th, 2021, his police powers were suspended and he was placed on administrative duties. Because of his training background, he was assigned to the in-service training unit at the range. The chief of police goes on to say, the totality of circumstances in this case justify my decision to keep Sergeant Hutchens at work in a non-sworn administrative capacity until the case is resolved. Now, once again, that police chief, after our reporting, has completely changed his mind, but initially stood by this cop who was under felony indictment for murder. When I did this story, I told you what the spin would be after the segment. I said, listen, the county is going to have a response, or the police will have a response that says, oh, it's just administrative duty. But the spin was, yes, it was administrative duty on paper. However, he was training individuals how to shoot on the shooting range. He was training members of SWAT. You know how I know this? Because police officers got in touch with me directly, because they were upset about this guy under felony indictment instructing them. There's more. So once the chief of police pushes back to the county commissioner who's standing up for the community in this email thread, the county commissioner responded and says, Chief Roberts, I am disappointed in your response about Sergeant Hutchens. First, by saying the Board of Commissioners voted for him to be working in a training capacity is deceptive, since he was not indicted for murder at that time. I can't speak for others on the board, but I believe it is unlikely that members of any board would think that this was a good idea to allow this assignment to continue on after the indictment. Furthermore, I am extremely concerned as a board member and as a mother of a black male with your response justifying that you made a good decision that this officer should stay where he is. This commissioner continues and says, if you suspended this officer from having or carrying a firearm, why would you think this officer should be the safety instructor for the other officers training with firearms? ? Sensible question, Commissioner. While I believe everyone is innocent until proven guilty, in the abundance of caution, a better decision could have been made about what capacity Hutchens should serve in until this case is resolved. I recommend that the Board of Commissioners review this matter so that we can make a better decision as to what this officer should be doing between now and his court date. Well, once again, the chief of police decided to change his entire tune and has sidelined that officer. In a follow-up email, that same county commissioner who is pushing back on this chief provided this note. Also, chief, you may want to take a look at this and the amount of views. This is not painting our county in a good light at all. What did the commissioner provide the chief? This is what she provided him. She provided him with a graphic from this show with the link directly connected to this reporting. There it is. The commissioner provided that link to the chief. Now, I highlight this because it's not uncommon for us to make actual change happen. But it takes us all working together toward the goal. So I want to say thank you to everyone who paid attention to this. That segment with all of our combined platforms received hundreds and hundreds of thousands of views, all right? A lot within a very short amount of time. And that is the catalyst for this transformation happening quickly. Now, should it take all of this? Hell no, of course not. It was a ridiculous move. It was insane to even imagine that a cop under felony indictment for shooting a 26-year-old college student 60 times, lying about it, and then committing the act of burglary according to a grand jury. It's insane to think that cops should ever have a role in policing, period. But he did. It took a lot in order to make this happen. It took a lot for simple justice to be awarded, but it's here. Now there's a trial. That trial is scheduled in the next few weeks. Obviously, we will continue to monitor this until completion. All right, Ms. Khan, I know it's a lot of moving pieces to this story. What are your thoughts here?
Well, first of all, I do want to commend you on your show, and this really is a great story that exemplifies that the work that we're doing is sometimes it's worth something. Sometimes it does reap some kind of positive benefits, not just for us on the show, but for the people who are actually living in all these places in counties like this one. And the thing with cops and accountability, it keeps coming up all the time. The thing is, people want to believe that cops are these morally superior enforcers and protectors of justice, but really they're just people. They're unelected, they're not appointed by anyone. They're just people who chose a profession for themselves for whatever reason that they personally chose it. And hopefully we can really just hope that they did it for the right reasons. And meanwhile, the public is expected to just trust that these are good people and that they're good at their jobs and that they're doing their jobs with integrity, when we know that there's a lot of people who don't do their jobs with integrity or they're just not good at them. And these are cops. We've seen what happens when cops are bad at their jobs. The consequences for this are deadly. And sure, they get some training, maybe they get some field training or even some D&I training, but even D&I training can't eradicate personal beliefs in a meaningful way from somebody, beliefs that they've held on for presumably most of their lives. And that's assuming that the training that they're getting is good to begin with and not coming from somebody like the guy in the story. And of course, all these personal beliefs are going to influence the way the cops do their jobs, especially when they're put in positions of authority with firearms, and especially when they know that it's highly unlikely that they're going to actually suffer any consequences. I mean, how often does this actually happen?
Yeah, very well said. All right, obviously we're going to continue to follow this story